I didn't get a chance to check out Polite Society when it was at Sundance, but I watched this over the weekend, and if you're into action and comedy, this might be one you want to add to your list. Ria Khan believes she must save her older sister Lena from her impending marriage. After enlisting her friends' help, she attempts to pull off the most ambitious of all wedding heists in the name of independence and sisterhood. Now, I'm absolutely in love with this film. It's silly and funny, but also heaps on a ton of heartwarming scenarios with touching emotion. And then crazy action mixed with some fantasy. And when I say fantasy, don't think fae or elves. Ria, the younger sister of Lena, dreams of being a stunt woman, and she's constantly practicing. But more importantly, she views her life through that lens, making everything we watch feel a bit fantastical. And through so much of this, I wasn't sure if what we were seeing was actually how things are playing out, or if they're being heightened and exaggerated by Ria's imagination. Now, she's certainly the hero of her story, where in this, her older sister meets this rich dude and falls for him. When the wedding is imminent, Ria is convinced that Lena is actually in danger from her new fiancé and his mom, so she hatches this plan to rescue Lena from her own wedding. But before the events get to that ridiculous point, there's a ton of lead up that is hilarious and exciting to watch. The dialogue is quick, witty, smart, and dryly funny. Priya Kansara plays Ria, and she absolutely nails the over-exuberant and somewhat impulsive high school persona. She's very likable and has great presence and chemistry with her co-stars, playing up her excitability but never quite reaching the absurd level. Ritu Arya plays Lena, and I love her dynamic with Ria. They bicker like siblings, but are also wildly supportive of each other. And when the story begins to focus on the tension that's felt between the two sisters, it's evident that anxiety and fear of losing the other play into the actions and emotions of Ria. That's a bit like in Father of the Bride, when George Banks begins to act out just a bit because he's really grieving the absence of his daughter. That's the same with Ria and how she feels Lena pulling away. But what also plays heavily into this is Ria's suspicion that the new family has nefarious plans for Lena. And because Ria wants to be a stunt woman, she's featured in a lot of the action sequences. But what I love is that she has the skill of a high schooler who's in training, but hasn't achieved a great deal of skill yet. So there are plenty of laugh-out-loud moments when Ria doesn't stick to landing on a move, or just completely missteps in the choreography planned in her mind, leading to trips, falls, and then general failure. But with these, there are a lot of exciting action sequences that are created. Now, sometimes the editing used too many quick cuts, breaking up the fluidity of the fights, but there are other times when we get to see the choreography in motion, and it's fun to see the characters complete their complicated dances of violence. Now, outside of Ria and Lena, there are some other standout characters that help to make this an enjoyable and memorable story. There's Nimra Bucha, who plays Rahila, and she's the soon-to-be mother-in-law who could be the villain, but is certainly seen as the adversary to Ria. And they have great banter and exchange verbal barbs, making for some slightly silly exchanges. Then there's Shobu Kapoor, who plays Fatima, Ria and Lena's mom. She's so great as she displays love and concern for both her girls, but also is sucked into the allure of the rich other families, leading her to discount Ria's concerns in favor of marrying Lena off to Salim. And the relationship we see between Fatima and the girls, it's often snarky, but also a ton of fun to watch. There are 3 of Ria's schoolmates who conspire with her, and they are quirky, odd, very sarcastic, and then they share excellent chemistry with Ria. The group of them together is slightly dysfunctional at times, but their friendship, it feels natural and genuine. Finally, there's Salim, Lena's fiancé, played by Akshay Khanna. Now, he is the ultimate rich and spoiled mama's boy, but one that has enough presence to fool most around him. He comes across as confident and a bit aloof, but from Ria's perspective, he's conniving and devious. Throughout so much of this movie, I was constantly waiting to see a perspective of the events as they were really playing out from anyone other than Ria's viewpoint. But what we're given seems to be the truth, or at least the only truth will ever be shown. So is there a fantastical and action-oriented mindset to the narrative? Yeah, because that's how Ria lives her life and views the world. And I'm not upset in the slightest by seeing it this way. The storytelling is engaging and filled with intelligent dialogue. The unconventional mannerisms of Ria transform this story from a rote comedy into one that's elevated in humor, stunt work, and choreography. It's only an hour and 44 minutes, and the narrative doesn't waste time on unnecessary ideas or actions, instead moving the audience from story beat to story beat, maintaining a high level of momentum and excitement. I'm certainly going to be rewatching this over and over, engaged by the chemistry between the two leads, and then loving all of the fabulous action. There's no sex, a little nudity, some profanity, and a bunch of violence. I give Polite Society 4.5 out of 5 couches. So what's a good action comedy that you love to watch? Let me know what it is in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.